Hi, this is Wayne Brown of Your Life Architect. Welcome back to my little video series on finding your soulmate. This is where I'm going into the 5 steps of the Find Your Soulmate system and explaining in a little more depth as to how they work, what you can expect, what sort of things you will go through and why each of these steps is important. Now, this is the 3rd video in the series, and this is me explaining the release portion of the steps. So that's release. Now this is quite important because these are the things where you hear a song and you're reminded of a partner. Now these are the conscious things that hold us to our past. In the previous video you may recall I mentioned an iceberg, how the very tip of it is our conscious thought, and the remainder part, which is below the water, which can't be seen, is our unconscious part, the things that happen without us even being aware of it. So hearing a song and remembering a partner is one of the things that is a conscious anchor to our past. One of the unconscious anchors are things like where a new partner does something and in our unconscious it triggers a conflict or a memory or something from a partner so that the emotions that come up are a lot more intense than they would normally be. So I'm sure we've all seen people where we say something and they just go ballistic, they just like blow their top and we think, wow, that's bizarre, I wonder why they went so over the top. Road rage is a perfect example of this sort of thing. If you're cutting someone off, you're not threatening their life. But some people feel the need to jump out with a tyre lever and smash windows and really hurt people. And that's because these are things that happen on an unconscious level. And when that's in a relationship, that's devastating to both people because they both carry emotional scars. So this is all about letting go of your past relationships so you can move into your future. Now, one of the I suppose the key learnings for myself was understanding how emotions work. Now, I don't know about yourself, but if you've read any books on positive thinking or anything like that, the problem with any of those is everything in life has to have a balance. There's always got to be good and bad, all right? How you deal with it is the important thing. But there's always this balance. So if you always try and have happy thoughts and happy this and happy that, you're going to always have this challenge. So what I realised was sometimes I had too much of one side of the emotion, but I could change it to the other side quite easily. So I was always going into anger quite easily. But what I realised with this, and actually I'll do this in blue, this part. If we look at our emotions as a spectrum, so there's the middle. So this is where you have 0 emotions. There's zip, you're flatlined, all right? There's only really 2 emotions. Now the 2 emotions are fear and love. Now for me this was a big one. Now every emotion we have can fit somewhere on this scale. So if you think about it, if you have pride, pride is a fairly high level of love. If you have joy, that would probably be about in the middle. Ecstasy would be a little bit higher. If you start to move on to this end, you might have shame. You might have discomfort. When you get to anger, anger's fairly far down on the scale in the fear area. Now, the reason that is if you're angry about something, it's because you're fearful of losing something and you're trying to protect that. Now, I know for myself, when I was angry, I felt minimised, I felt neutralised, I felt put down, I felt harassed. All of these negative emotions that were around here, but manifested as anger because I was fearful. So that's a really good tip for you if you want to deal with your anger, is if you get angry or any of these negative emotions, ask yourself, what's the fear associated with that? For example, shame. You might fear being publicly ridiculed or persecuted or judged or something like that. And that's all a form of fear. And that makes it a little easier to deal with once you actually find out what the fear is. Now, where I was going with that was, a lot of people think you need to get rid of these and only have these. The problem is, sometimes the best emotions you can have are these. Because if you're always feeling good, you may not have enough pain in your life to motivate you. So if you drive around in a crappy car and you've just had enough, you got disgusted with your situation, you've had enough, you resent being poor, that you can't buy a decent car. So then you start to motivate yourself and drive yourself, excuse the pun, to succeed and to thrive and to achieve what you want to achieve. Therefore, you can move from here to here and have the car that you've always wanted. And you can add anything in there instead of car: job, relationship, health, whatever. So sometimes you need these negative emotions. That's why you need the balance. Because sometimes we need something to move towards, and other times we need something to move away from. So that's really important. So the releasing part is working out the emotions from your past relationships. And there's also certain blocks that we have, because some of the emotions that come up are caused by something unconscious. Now, this is what we call a stacked emotion. A lot of the release portion is about emotion, so it's understanding how we think and feel. So a stacked emotion is an emotional event that happens when we're younger, usually 7 or less. That should be a 7. So something traumatic will happen to us before the age of 7, and then we have all these different events through our life that happen. Some of them might be moderate, some of them can be quite intense. And because of this, each time the emotion gets a little bit stronger. So those people that really blow up and carry on, it's because of these stacked emotions. Now, once you go back and deal with that initial pain, put it into a context, work out where the emotions sit and a number of other things, you can let this go, and then all of this vanishes because none of this has got anything to anchor to. Now, I know for myself, with my anger that I had, once I found out where some of this came from, I let it go, and I can do anger, but I don't feel angry. So sometimes anger serves me. Sometimes these things here, like having had enough, being annoyed, being pissed off, whatever term you want to use on this scale, sometimes I need it and it serves me, so I use it. But I don't necessarily feel angry. I'm hoping this is making sense. So this is a lot to do with finding out your relationships where you've got the negative emotions. You want to have that last word, the things you need to say to be able to let that person go. And again, this isn't involving them. This is actually something where they don't have to be involved. Anyway, so I'm hoping this has helped clarify a little about some of the stuff that you would be going through if you're on the 5-step system to finding your soulmate. And I know for myself now, and that was the other thing, if you're always doing positive thinking and you're trying to suppress this portion, if you suppress that side gets suppressed. Now, I know myself as a man, and I'm sure there's other blokes that will agree, if they're honest, that if you suppress your anger, then you suppress your joy and your love and your connection and all of these wonderful positive emotions as well. It's like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. It takes a lot of energy. So you spend all this energy repressing these and pushing these down so you can't feel them, that these can't rise up. So once you feel these, but feel them in a clean way. So there's clean fear, there's clean anger, there's clean disgust, and then there's dirty anger, dirty fear, dirty disgust. So once you can feel those cleanly, these start to come up, and it's okay to feel them, because negative emotions are okay. Then this side starts to come up. So then you can start to connect again with the world. So this is all planting the foundation for you to be able to move forward into your future and find your soulmate. So I'm hoping that clarifies a little more about what's involved, and you should get it'll be the 4th video in the series in a few days, so keep an eye out for it, and it'll be a really good one actually. This is Fill Your Cup, which is one of my favourites because I know it made a huge difference to myself and I've seen it make a huge difference in clients. So keep an eye out for that. Look after yourself, take care, have a great day or evening depending on when you're watching this, and I'll catch you on the next video.